Hi, I'm Asal Aminian. Welcome to my new YouTube video. If you've seen the previous video about expected value, there we learned how to measure the long-term average of a random event. But an important question remains. For example, if we know the average return of an investment, do we really know everything about it? The mean is only one side of the story. In this video, we want to talk about concepts that determine how reliable this mean is, variance, and also standard deviation. When we talk about the stock's return, the first thing we usually look at is the average return. But the average does not always show the whole story. The two charts you see here both have an average return of 8%. But the investment experience in each one is completely different. A stock, like the chart on the left, moves smoothly. It goes up and down, but it is easier to predict. But the stock on the right apparently has the same return, but its risk is much higher. This is exactly where the mean no longer helps us, and this is where we need to use a stronger tool. Variance and standard deviation. It means measuring how large those fluctuations really are. Before we get into the formula, let's simply understand what variance means. Look at these two shapes. On the left, the dots are very close to the mean. That means this stock's behavior does not move far from its mean. This low volatility, meaning lower risk. But on the right, the dots have larger spread. The return is once very high and sometimes very low. This means high volatility, meaning higher risk. So in very simple terms, variance says how spread out returns are around the mean. The greater this spread is, the less predictable the results are and the risk becomes higher. Okay, now that we intuitively understand that variance means data dispersion, let's look at this formula. If I want to explain it simply, first we look at how far each data value is from the mean. Then we square this distance, so negative values become positive and large fluctuations stand out more. Finally, we calculate the mean of these squared distances, or the expected value. This becomes variance. This formula may look complicated at first, but in reality, it is only measuring the expected value of the distance of the data from the predicted mean. Okay, now that we know variance measures how spread out returns are, there is one small problem. Variance is expressed in squared units. That makes it harder to interpret directly, so we take the square root of variance. This gives us standard deviation, which comes back to the original unit of the data. In finance, when we ask how risky is this stock, we're talking about this number, the standard deviation of a stock's return. So far, we have learned the idea of variance and standard deviation. Now let's see how they work in real investment example. Compare these two stocks. Stock A had returns between 6% and 10% over 5 years. Its average return is 8% and its standard deviation is only about 1.4%. That means its returns are relatively stable and predictable. Stock B is different. In some years, it returned 20%, in another year, it returned minus 4%. Its average return is still 8%, just like stock A, but its standard deviation is close to 9.9%. So even though both stocks have the same average return, the experience on investing in stock B is more risky. This is why standard deviation matters. It helps us see how much the returns move around the average. So far, we saw how standard deviation shows volatility of the data. But the important point is that this number is not just a statistical concept. It is the core of risk management in finance. In the world of investing, when we talk about risk, we are actually measuring this same standard deviation of returns. In all classic finance charts, such as the risk-return chart, the horizontal axis is exactly standard deviation. That means the larger this number is, the more risk the portfolio or stock has. On the other hand, modern portfolio theory, the work Harry Markowitz won the Nobel Prize for, is built exactly on these two concepts, mean return and a standard deviation of return. So if you want to be an informed investor, these two numbers may be the most important things to know about. Thanks for watching the video till the end. If you like this video, make sure to like it and subscribe to the channel so we can learn more interesting concepts in statistics and finance together.